All right, am I pissed? I'm pissed, okay? Here's a question for all you TV stations and all you networks out there. Just how hard is it to sell your commercial airtime? God, it's got to be tough. It's got to be harder than hell because of this. Here we go. Page 1. When I watch broadcast TV, may God forgive me for ever turning that crap on, the most obvious thing is the incredible amount of time that networks are taking out of the shows to put on commercials, PSAs, and promos. As a matter of fact, commercials, that's, advertising a product, goods, or service, those damn things occupy over 20 minutes of every hour. Over a third of the hour is gone to ads. Well, I'm old enough to remember when TV commercials ran 30 or 60 seconds. Half a minute or a minute. Sometimes a really long one for 2 minutes, but it was 30, 60 seconds. You knew that when a program went to commercial break, you had about 2 minutes. You became the Minute Man. That was time for you to hop up, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, grab a cold drink, maybe one for your friend, come back, sit in front of the TV just in time. We're back. The show's on. Today, you can get up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, comb your hair, make a cold cut sandwich, grab 2 cold drinks, and as you casually saunter to the living room, some infomercial or network promo is just getting ready to wrap up. When you go to a PSA, that's a public service announcement for either children's hospitals or animal rights and protection, you can be sure that there's damn near enough time to mow the lawn while you wait. The surprising fact is that as long as these PSAs are, they're aired for free. You see, the federal government says you can't charge for those. In fact, they tell TV stations, they tell networks how many minutes a year minimum they must dedicate to public service announcement. Okay. Come on. But the broadcast TV more than fulfills this. TV stations, networks, they put out at least 3 times as many PSAs as they're required to by regulation. Maybe they just can't sell enough airtime for commercials, so they grab PSAs and throw them in the mix. If that's the case, my God, you've got, I was looking the other day, you'll have the same 4-minute PSA run 3 times in 1 hour. That means they only managed to sell 8 minutes of commercial airtime. If I'm figuring right. Okay, maybe it's not just the ads, but it's the public service announcements, let's call them PSAs, that make me crazy. The length of the PSA and its content often make for the most grueling experience since waterboarding was invented. I turn on the TV, broadcast TV, silly me, and there it is, a 4-minute PSA for Shriners Children. Those 4 minutes seem to take 40 as they shamelessly parade an unending procession of crippled, maimed, disfigured, and acutely afflicted children. The children's plights are designed to tug at your heartstrings. The makeup of the ad eventually centers on a little boy, a spokes child. The one that is like fingernails on a chalkboard is this arrogant little bastard, little blonde kid, who sits in a wheelchair, maybe tells you his life story. It's all focused on him, and he's got this voice, this... What the hell is he saying? Sounds like a chipmunk on drugs. Rather than tugging at my heartstrings, it tugs at my brain. I swear to God, if ever there was a stimulus to the medulla oblongata, that is it. As this little ham in a wheelchair hugs every possible camera pose, every angle, every opportunity, and speaks in that voice that can only be understood if you replay the commercial at half speed. You might throw a little bass in there too. Not only is he unintelligible, but it's that fingers on the chalkboard thing that makes him a horrible choice for spokes child. For the longest time, Shriners Hospital used a dark-haired little boy. An excellent choice for a spokes child, by the way. Excellent choice. He's articulate, very well spoken, seems a humble but brave child. His story is truly inspirational. His presence makes you want to hear what he has to say, and even makes that 4 minutes seem like no more than the 4 minutes that they are. He's so unlike the blonde boy who is an affliction on unsuspecting viewers. Okay, so the Shriners folks really do need to fire their ad agency. That's clear. I doubt they realize how many people are being alienated from their infomercials. And it's not just the infomercials themselves, but how often they hit you with them. It seems obvious television is having a really hard time selling airtime because they pepper the hour with not just one or two, but as many as 4 public service announcements from such as Shriners Children's Hospital, St. Jude's Hospital, ASPCA, an array of other interminable PSAs as various charities tug at your heartstrings and pull on your purse strings. Now, when I watch a St. Jude's Hospital PSA, I'm not really put off. It's not like Shriners, because St. Jude's takes a kinder, gentler approach. They ask for your support. They don't beg. Their own brand of begging doesn't annoy me nearly as much as that horribly scripted Shriner spots. Now, all right, this is the big one. When I watch an ASPCA propaganda piece, it makes my stomach churn. It does somersaults. Here they have an eternal parade of shivering, starving, dirty, maimed, neglected mongrels. Dog after dog shows its face in a pathetic pose, meant to separate you from your wallet. And they'll even put these things on with a hymn or a Christmas song in the background. They carefully pose these dogs beside empty food dishes, behind chain link fences. They'll hang an anchor chain on a dog's collar big enough to hold the Queen Mary. And some famous or once famous person appears on the screen and begs you to save a life, rescue an animal. And that makes me freaking crazy because, to get a drink, makes me nuts. These animals you see on TV, all these dogs, these mangled, starving mutts, they've more than likely been put down, euthanized, slaughtered, long before you see them on the small screen. They tell you that your monthly contribution will rescue these poor animals. But their definition of rescue isn't necessarily your definition of the word. When they rescue an animal, they bathe it, they medicate it, provide a safe shelter and good food for it. This much is true. Unfortunately, the ASPCA is not a no-kill shelter, and most or all of these animals have been slaughtered only days or weeks after being rescued. Maybe they should say, donate this much money every month so we can slaughter more animals. But they're not honest enough to do that. The ASPC ads are often so bad and so long, another interminable 4-minute foray into distasteful dishonesty. Oh, I wonder if they aren't trying to euthanize us. So, let's sum this up. The birth of the infomercial has dealt yet another death blow to broadcast TV. Whether it be for a new model vacuum cleaner or simply begging for money, these infomercials have become an interminable part of an even more interminable broadcast television environment. TV stations and networks don't charge for the PSAs. Way beyond what they have to do, they're filling time they can't sell. That's what I believe. So I would say this to the broadcast TV industry: sell your infomercials to the lawyers, drug companies, automakers, and the like. They're expensive, but many businesses feel they're a good investment. All I ask is, balance the expense so you can sell enough commercials to fill the slots with some room for PSAs, some room for station promotion and ID. But for God's sake, OS, please, please, spare us all the 4-minute PSAs. Get off your asses and go sell some airtime. I'm Max, and that's the way I see it.